Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here. Today we're going to be reviewing episodes 1 and 2 of the Abominable Snowmen animation that just released. Now, episode 2, I did watch the surviving episode. And I did watch this in black and white. I did debate over which one I wanted to watch first. You know, all of the episodes in animation in color or the black and white episodes with the surviving episode 2. Because I will say from the trailers and all the clips they've shown, the colors in this do pop. And the color version of it does look like it's going to be really good. But I knew I didn't want to watch color animation with the surviving episode. I find that jarring. And I do like watching the black and white versions of these as well with it cropped down to the 4:3 aspect ratio. And I'm glad they do that for the black and white version so it kind of fits in. It looks more Troughton era like it should. So I started with the black and white version. And for episode 1, I have to say right off the bat, the animation is a huge improvement over Fury from the Deep, which is a concern I have. I know it's by Big Finish Creative, the same people who did Fury from the Deep in Galaxy 4. And I liked Galaxy 4's animation a lot. I had quibbles with it, but I liked it a lot. I thought they had made a lot of improvements with it. And they've done more here. The characters still kind of have that cartoony, Scooby-Dooey look, kind of. Not as bad as Fury, but they still kind of have it here. That Troughton still has that kind of same animation face that I don't care for as much. But it doesn't bother me here. I think what's really helping this story is the motions look much more fluid. I don't think I realized this now until I'm thinking about them together. I think Fury from the Deep's animation, I think my problem with it might be less the actual style of the animation and more just the movements are so choppy and unnatural looking. It's like watching South Park, like a really sophisticated South Park sometimes. Like the scene in Fury from the Deep when Jamie and the Doctor throw the couch through the window. It just looks like South Park. A lot of the movements in Fury seem unnatural. Whereas in here, in Abominable Snowmen, it looks a lot better. I really liked the motion of the characters and the way they moved and the facial expressions they got. It was a huge improvement. And I found myself really enjoying the animation, which again isn't that different just on the surface from Fury's. The arms look better. It doesn't have that long arm syndrome like Fury has. And I'm enjoying the animation, at least going by the first episode, a lot more than I thought I would. So I do have to say that up front, because most of you guys know I really didn't like Fury's animation. That despite their similar looks, I like the animation a lot more here. The backgrounds look phenomenal. And even the characters on the backgrounds aren't bothering me as much as I thought they would. They actually work fine just going by the first episode. And again, the movement of the characters, the body language, the facial expressions is 1,000 times better. So I'm actually enjoying that. Now, from a story standpoint, I've read the Target novel version of this story before. I think the Flyattractor had sent me the novel of it. And I really enjoyed the novel of it. So I know what happens in the story. I just don't know how it breaks down in its individual episodes. I liked the story here. I liked the scene when the Doctor's looking for the bell in the chest better in the Target novel, because the Target novel does it in a very humorous light where while he's digging in the chest, he pretty much gets lost in it. You know, Jamie and Victoria are watching him as he pretty much gets swallowed. He pretty much climbs into the chest looking. And then when he gets out of the chest and finds the coat, he puts on the coat and he asks them to continue looking for the bell so he could go outside. And the way it phrases in the book is something like, "And I'm going to step out for a minute if that's okay," the Doctor asks with a childlike innocence and wonder. It's like a 5-year-old asking for permission. "Can I go outside?" It's very fitting for the second Doctor, and I really enjoyed it in the novel. And it doesn't quite communicate that here. It's done as a more serious, not serious, but it's definitely not as humorous and fun in the actual episode. It's fine. It's not bad. It's just not as much fun. I like the animation. I think Trevor looks good. I like that they did animate the monks and the priest looking more like they should, like, you know, the people there should. You know, they didn't try to match the actors' looks from the surviving episode. I mean, I don't really have a problem. Despite what Gary Russell wants you to think, I firmly believe that the way they did the casting for those characters in 1967 was very typical for the time. I don't think for the time it was anything wrong with it. You wouldn't do it now, but for the time, I don't think. Especially since directors back then liked to work with actors they'd worked with before, they were comfortable with, they knew could perform, and were readily available. So I don't have an issue with how the casting was done in the 60s, but I do think, especially since you're pretty much animating the whole thing, there's only one surviving episode and you're doing animations of all 6 episodes, I think it's the right idea to animate them so they look more proper for the time. Not only in the way the characters look, but in the way they dress as well, so it's more period appropriate. So I do support that decision, but I'm not one of these people that thinks the 60s version did it wrong, like Gary Russell was talking about. Gary Russell needs to get over himself. But I do like that they made that choice to make the characters look more accurate and to make the outfits look more accurate. I enjoyed that. I really liked everything going on. I liked the cliffhanger with, of course, the Doctor being in the jail cell, and Victoria and Jamie, of course, got locked in with the boulder, and then you see that shot of the boulder getting rolled away. It's a cool shot, really good animated shot. And of course, it knocking the sword practically out of Jamie's hand and almost ignoring it. Well, it breaks the sword. And then Victoria doing one of her infamous screams, and it's such a good scream. It's a really good cliffhanger. The anime conveys it well. And now for episode 2, I did watch the surviving footage. And let me say, it looks phenomenal. They have done a really good job restoring it. In some sections more than others. The studio stuff looks pretty good, but the location footage, anytime you see Jamie and Victoria when they're on like the mountains, looks like it was shot yesterday in black and white. It looks really good, like crystal clear, like to the point I'm like, is that film elements? You wouldn't think it would be. I wouldn't assume it was, but I'd swear it looks like film element. It looks so good, that location work. Anytime when you see Jamie and Victoria talking on the mountain, when they're coming down from it, when they're talking with Trevor's and Trevor's wants to show them the cave, the shots right before they get to the monastery, like when the Doctor's like, no, don't come near, that looks pretty good, but then it cuts to them coming near, and that looks fantastic. The shots right there at the end of the Yeti watching from the mountains, that looks crystal clear. But the rest of the footage looks really, really good. They've done a really good job restoring this episode, kind of giving us an idea, I think, what these stories are going to look like on Blu-ray. The movement is very fluid. Like it looks like it was ran through like a super vidfire process. I really liked how well, even in the studio, what is very obviously the studio shots, the movement of the characters I really liked. I'm really glad at least one episode of this story exists, because I enjoy watching Troughton. Because Troughton, as I've mentioned many times before, is so much of him is down to his body language and his facial expressions. He gets the most awesome facial expressions. Much like David Tennant can do a lot with his face, Troughton can do a lot with his face. And so seeing his different expressions, and when he gets that little smile on his face, at other times, I always enjoy watching Troughton. So it's nice that I do get one episode where I get to see, actual Troughton. And I like that. I like seeing the little ball roll around in the mud. I think it has a pretty good cliffhanger. It doesn't end on a dangerous, imminent threat note, but it does end on a what the heck is going on here note, when you see the one ball moving in the mud, and then the other ball by the statue start rolling and making that very, what we now know, familiar sound that they make, that little, I can't do it, but you know the sound I'm talking about. It's also in Web of Fear. I like when the one guy that the Doctor is trying to be like, okay, I need you to listen to me. The one guy's kind of on the Doctor's side, I forget his name. When he actually meets the abbot, and then him and the abbot talk, hear that voice, which we know is the Great Intelligence. That whole scene when it's behind the screen, you can't see it. That's a cool voice, and I like the fact that it does sound like two voices. You have the monk's voice, which is the kind of whispering, then you have the other voice, which sounds very almost otherworldly, and it's going back and forth between them. I really like that. I like everything going on with the story. Again, I wish more of it was in live action. It is hard having to go back to animation after getting to see an episode in live action and really enjoying the episode in live action. But I enjoyed the animated first episode a lot more than I thought I would. The animation is definitely a lot better than Fury's. As for the story, I like it. I enjoyed the Target novel of it. I'm enjoying it thus far here. The performances in the animated version and in the surviving episode 2 have been great. The animation has been done really well. So yeah, I'm having a ball with the Abominable Snowmen in black and white thus far. Have you gotten your Abominable Snowmen animation yet? What do you think of it? I'd like to hear your opinion. So comment down below and let me know, because I always enjoy hearing from you guys. Other things to do, click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications, because that helps me out and I certainly appreciate it. I also have a Patreon. If you like what I do and would like to subscribe to what I do and help me out, there's a link to that down in the description below. Check that out. It won't take but a minute. Several different tiers to choose from. I want to give a shout out to 2 of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane and the 5th Doctor. I appreciate their continued support, just as I do the support of all of my patrons. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me to review, and a link to my Amazon wish list is down there as well. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.